Vaibhav this side, and in this video, I want to share with you how to enslave luck and how to really become lucky in your life and control your luck and make it work for you. So I want to start off with my personal experience with luck and want to talk a little bit about my story and my struggle with luck. So when I was around 14-15 year old, then an astrologer had done my Kundali reading, which basically astrologers tells you about your future and tell you about the blocks and obstacles that you might face based on your name, birthplace and birth time. And while doing my reading, he said that I have to struggle a lot with luck because my luck is never going to favor me. He mentioned that I have this Kal Sar dosh in my Kundali, so I have to struggle a lot to achieve anything in my life. And if I am putting in the work to get the gold, I will end up having mud in my hands. So the conclusion of the reading was that I am not very lucky person and luck is never going to favor me. And I remember after that reading, I was very sad and very disappointed. And this was something that got stuck in my mind. I let this thought, circle around in my head over and over again. And I remember that every time I thought about it, I was feeling more and more sad and more disappointed. And I was like, you know what, an astrologer knows it all. Who am I to question him? He knows my future better than I do. And after that, something interesting started to happen to me, and I started to realize that the astrologer was actually right. It initially started with little things, like when I used to play cricket, I got dismissed on the first ball and I started missing the bus by few seconds just before I arrived at the bus stand. But slowly that pattern started to show up in every single area of my life. It started to reflect in my academics, in my actions and my result, and I actually started to realize that and got convinced that I am very unlucky and luck never favors me. And before I knew, this becomes my overarching theme of my life. This belief becomes stronger and stronger every single day. And this so-called perceived bad luck started to show in every single area of my life. And whenever anything didn't go according to the plan, I was very quick to complain and say, it's because my luck never favors me. It's because I am unlucky. And reality is conspiring to work against me. And I become this pessimist person, this unlucky person. And this become my attitude toward the life. I accepted my existence as an unlucky person. So let's understand why that happened and why my existence turned into an unlucky person and how I overcome that. And at this point right now, I consider myself an extremely lucky person. Life has blessed me with so many amazing gifts and so many amazing experience, right? So let's understand how that turnaround took place for me. So first of all, what I want you to understand is that your attention creates attraction, right? Whatever you focus on and place your attention at, that expands. This was very crucial for me to understand. So what happens is that a lot of time we are very quick to complain about things that do not go our way rather than being grateful for things that do go our way, right? If you look at your life right now, 95% of the things are going your way, but you never take time to appreciate that. All you are complaining about are those 5% of things that do not go your way, all right? This is just how we are programmed. This is how society has conditioned us to think. People are just complaining about what they don't have rather than being grateful and showing gratitude for what they do have. This is how we focus on things. So how this affected me to become an unlucky person in the past, I want to explain that with this help of this subconscious programming cycle. So what I want you to understand is that there are two types of thought, right? One is the foreign thought, and these are the thoughts that we get from other people. These are the opinions, and we get them from society, from TV, media, and then we have the personal thoughts, right? And these are the thoughts that we think about and decide and choose to think about. This is that we accept and decide to make them our own. And by the way, if you want to learn more about this subconscious reprogramming cycle, click up here. I have created a detailed video on that. But what I want you to understand is that all the personal thoughts were once just the foreign thoughts. You listen to other people's opinion, you listen to the other people's thought, and then you think about it over and over again, and then you accept it as your personal thought. Alright? So to give an example of this, when astrologer made that prediction that I am unlucky person, it was a foreign thought. I could have rejected it, I could have just ignored it, but because I choose to accept it and attributed emotions to it and run in my head over and over again, it becomes my personal thought. It becomes my reality. So how this cycle really works is that, first of all, we have a thought, right? And then what happens is, and more often than not, these are the foreign thoughts. But what happens is that we start to attribute emotions to these thoughts, right? So in my case, I started feeling sad, I started feeling disappointed. That was the emotions. And then this thought goes back and forth between emotions, thought, and it eventually becomes a belief, right? So you can think of it this way, like what are beliefs? Beliefs are the combination of your thoughts and emotions. Every time you think a thought and you attribute emotions to it, what you are basically doing is you are laying bricks, right? You are laying bricks for these beliefs. It's not that you have to really revisit that experience again and again. You can experience something once, but every time when you play that sequence in your mind, every time you do that, you lay these bricks to cement this belief, right? Because your mind doesn't know the difference between what's imagined and what is real. If you don't believe me, just play a sequence of some bad, past bad experience of your life, and you will see that you start to feel exactly the same way when that event actually happened, right? You are going to experience the same emotions because your mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. And every time you do that, you lay more bricks. You lay more bricks for these beliefs. And before you know, that belief, it takes one solid structure with a strong foundation of its own. Alright? So when this thought becomes a belief, something very interesting happens. At this stage, your RAS, your reticular activating system, it starts to get programmed with this belief, right? And when your RAS is programmed with a particular belief, it starts to filter out the evidence that support this belief, right? That cement that belief. So it's kind of like you are now wearing these lenses of I am an unlucky person, and you look at in your reality and handpick all the events that support this belief. So I was like, oh, I missed the bus by a few seconds because I am unlucky. I didn't get good grades. Oh, because I am unlucky. Every time you give evidence to support this belief, you lay more and more bricks, right? You lay more and more bricks to strengthen these beliefs. And when you have enough evidence, when you have laid enough bricks to support this structure, it becomes a conviction. And conviction is something that we never question, right? Conviction becomes your self-fulfilling prophecy and becomes your destiny. And over time, this conviction becomes your attitude toward your life. And what you need to understand is that this world is a mirror that reflects your attitude toward it. The mirror principle. And if you don't know what the mirror principle is, click up here. I have created a detailed video on that. But to summarize the mirror principle, what it says is that reality is a mirror which reflects your attitude toward it, right? Whatever attitude you hold toward your life, toward your reality always gonna reflect that back at you, right? So this mirror has two parts, right? One is the image, and this is your attitude, and the other is the reflection, which is your external world, right? So when I had this conviction that I am unlucky, and this conviction becomes my attitude toward my life, then what happens is that reality, it looks at this attitude, it looks at this image, and it's like, whoa, you think you are unlucky? Well, you are right, you are unlucky. Here are more events to to make you feel that you are unlucky, more problems, more obstacles. So this is how this reflection is formed, right? And reality gives you more of these events to confirm your attitude, and then you see these events and you feed them back in your image, in the attitude, and you strengthen your attitude, and you are like, see, I told you I am unlucky. See all these problems, all these events, all these obstacles, and this attitude get even more stronger. And then reality again reflect that back at you even more strongly, and you face more obstacles and more unpleasant events, and this cycle continues, right? It's a feedback loop. And this is the biggest issue. We don't understand that we are the cause of what's happening outside of us. Our attitude is the cause, and reality is just reflecting back our attitude toward us as an effect. But we look at the effect, we look at the external, and then feed them back into the cause, and that's why we suffer. If you look at any pessimist, they are very powerful creator of their own reality. If you talk to a pessimist, everything is always breaking down in their life, right? Everything is always against them. So in a way, because they have this negative attitude toward the life, they are attracting more and more bad events and creating their reality in a negative way. But we don't want to create our reality in a negative way. We want to use these cycles to our advantage and consciously create our reality in a powerful manner and become the conscious creator of our own life, right? So now let me share you how I broke out of this cycle of this bad luck to a point where now I consider myself the luckiest person in the world, and how that shift happened for me, and how you can make that shift in your life and become luckier, right? So a breakthrough for me occurred when I was reading this article on internet about this Kalsar dosha, and this article describes how Kalsar dosha was present in the kundali of many successful people like Nelson Mandela, Rajnikant, Dhirubhai Ambani, Sachin Tendulkar, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, and all these successful people have this Kalsar dosha in their kundali, and this really made them who they are today. This dosha has made them very hardworking and best in their field, and that was a new way for me to look at it, and it kind of blew my mind. And I was like, oh, it's a good thing. It means I am destined to be great. It means I am actually lucky, right? So what I did is that I started working from this new assumption, this new hypothesis. And this kind of helped me to manipulate my own psychology, right? And then what happened is that I made this new assumption that, everything that has happened to me in the past, every perceived negative event that has happened to me in the past was for my good. It means I am lucky. So you start with this new hypothesis first. It initially comes as a thought or an idea, right? So my new thought was, I am lucky, right? And I'm destined to be a successful person. And then I started attributing new meaning to it. In hindsight, I realized that all the so-called perceived negative events actually happened for my greater good and made me the person who I am today. And not only past, but I also started putting positive meaning and positive attention on the current events in my life, right? So you have your attention has three type of quality. you have the positive attention, and then you have the negative attention, and then you have the neutral attention. Both positive and negative attention has the power to create your reality, to influence your reality, while the neutral attention has the power to dissolve it. And what I mean by that is, let's say you are going through your life, and this is your current lifeline, and an event happened to you. So let's say this is the event. Now you have a fork in the road. Okay, if you place a positive meaning onto this event, then you will shift to the positive lifeline, and the subsequent events that are going to unfold for you will be positive. If you place negative meaning onto this event, then you will shift to the negative lifeline, and the subsequent events that are going to unfold for you are going to be negative. And if you place neutral attention to this event, nothing will happen. You will just continue on your own current lifeline. Because from nature's point of view, all events are neutral event. It's us who place these meaning onto this event as positive and negative. So when I started placing positive meaning onto this, this Kal Sarp dosha, and I started believing that it is for my greater good and this is happening for my advantage, suddenly I started seeing more and more good things happening to me. So now I actually started using this subconscious cycle to my advantage. I first started with this new thought that I am lucky. I first started with this new thought, and everything that is happening to me is for my advantage. So if something even doesn't go as planned, I was like, what, this is because I'm lucky and this is happening for my advantage. I'm not able to see the advantage right now, but my reality is going to reveal it to me at the right time. And as I was placing the positive meaning onto these so-called perceived negative events, I was placing this positive attention onto it. And when I did that, I noticed that subsequent event always turns out to my advantage. If I missed a bus, I saw that same bus was actually broken down in the middle. And I was like, see, I told you I am so lucky. And then I started adding more fuel to it. I first started off with simple things in my life, like, I have a good health because I'm lucky. I have a house to live because I'm lucky. I have a beautiful and loving family. Well, I'm really lucky. So I have this new thought and I attach new emotions to it. I started feeling grateful for every single thing in my life. I started showing gratitude for every single thing in my life. And eventually it started to become a belief, right? It becomes a little belief, not very strong at this point. But now what I did is that I bypassed this RAS and I consciously started looking for the evidence where I am lucky. And trust me, there are always evidence. Whatever you look for, you will find it. I started with simple things like me being healthy, having a good life, having beautiful house, having beautiful family, being able to do things that I want to do, even being born in such a beautiful and free country. And I even started doing this for tiniest thing possible. So let's say I went to the market to get fresh fruits and vegetable, and when I was able to get fresh fruits and vegetable, I was like, see, I told you I'm lucky. My luck always favors me. And I said this so many times in my mind that it eventually becomes my auto suggestion. So this is how it works, because now I am trying to consciously program my mind that I am lucky. I have to consciously start to look for the evidence wherever I can find them, right? It's like for me, now there is no such thing as bad luck. It always good luck or good luck in disguise. So this is how you do it, right? If anything do not go as per your expectation, you just tell yourself, this is for my greater good. You have to ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How this can be beneficial to me? How this can be beneficial for me in the long term? And if you can't find the answer right now, just accept it anyways and say to yourself, you know what? I can't see what's in the advantage behind it right now, but I will be able to understand it in the future. It will reveal itself to me and it is happening for my favor. So over time, it eventually got to a point, where my mind automatically started to look at the bright side of every single thing. And when I had enough evidence to support my new belief, it becomes my conviction. Now I don't have to consciously, look for the evidence. Now my mind, my RAS, it got automatically, it got programmed and automatically started to look for the evidence where I am lucky. And this conviction, it started to get stronger and stronger, and it becomes my new attitude. All right. Now this mirror cycle started to work in my favor. When you have this new attitude that you are lucky, your reality, it's going to reflect that. Your reality is going to reflect this new attitude in your external. You will start to see more and more events happening to you, that are going to be in your advantage, and then you use those events as feedback to this attitude, and before you know it, you start to ride this wave of fortune. Every time you put a positive meaning onto an event, you shift to the positive lifeline, and more positive events started to happen to you, and this just spirals up and just skyrocket you to the top. And this is how you go from being an unlucky person to a very, very lucky person. All right. And with that, I'm concluding this video. Leave me a comment down below to let me know if that was useful, or if you have any feedback, any constructive criticism, it's very welcome. Also, if there is any particular topic or problem that you are dealing with in your life and you want me to talk about it, you just put it down in the comment section and I will try to cover that topic in my future videos. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, much love and peace.